Greetings, this is Robert Hall with the Robert the Appraiser YouTube channel. The title of this video is Flex Room versus Extra Bedroom, and the reason it's called this is because there are conversations out there about whether or not you should, when you have a flex room that most likely would be used as a media room, an office, a sunroom, a den, and many other possible purposes, I have found it in my practice that often the homeowner would like that room to be counted in the bedroom count. Now, to give you a specific example, and it's quite a coincidence because I had already planned on making this video today, later in the afternoon, as I am right now. It's 5 o'clock p.m. and it was my plan to make this very video at 5 o'clock p.m., but it just so happened by coincidence. This morning, I was appraising an absolutely stunning, lovely, large house, and the owner told me that there was a previous appraisal, but the previous appraiser had miscounted the bedrooms, and he had counted and used the number of 3 bedrooms, and she said that he got it wrong, that there were 4. And I assured her we were going to get it right, and she gave me the time to go and make my inspection of the first floor. I did a very thorough count because I didn't want to make the same mistake as the first appraiser, and I counted 3 bedrooms. And at that moment, I actually just thought I was missing one. It wasn't a small house, and a lot of times there's some hallway or something like that that I might have missed. So I asked her to show me the 4th bedroom that the other appraiser had apparently missed. Now here's a picture of that room, and I did ask permission to use this, so I'm not violating any confidentiality. And what you see here is a room being used as an office, but not only is it being used as an office, it's set up as what in modern day design we're calling these flex rooms. Okay, it didn't have a traditional bedroom door on it. It had a set of double doors that had glass panes in them, so if you close the doors you can see into the house, into the room very well. Also, this room was off of some of the larger living areas. It wasn't back down a hallway or in a more private area the way that bedrooms are typically positioned in a house. Okay, and there were already in this house 3 full bedrooms and 2.5 bathrooms. And then there was this flex room. There were also some other rooms, a dining room, a breakfast area. There was a very nice room off of the entrance that normally you might call it a mud room, but it had more going for it than that. It was a large, very nicely designed, spacious room. So this house had a lot of rooms. And this particular room, she wanted and believed that it was beneficial to count this as a bedroom and to call the house a 4-bedroom house instead of 3. Now, this is a very common assumption that is made in the market, and one of the reasons I'm making this video is I've had this conversation, as I did this morning, with hundreds of home buyers and at least dozens of real estate agents in an attempt to make it more understandable of why it's not advantageous to take a room that isn't really a traditional bedroom, that has so many other uses, as in the picture that you're seeing here. This is an office, and to add it into the count and make it a 4-bedroom. Now, I'll go ahead and just say this, and I said it in the last video. People are not having as many children today as they were a decade ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. Families are smaller and they need less bedrooms. And there's also a lot of people in the market that don't have kids. I mean, an example is my wife and I are empty nesters, and we haven't needed bedrooms for children in quite a long time. And when someone in my age bracket and place in life goes out to shop for a house, we may not necessarily be wanting to get as many possible bedrooms as we can. We may be looking for larger rooms, more spacious rooms, more open rooms, and we'll sacrifice the total number of bedrooms to get what we're looking for. You know, there's a reason why the word downsizing has become so prolific, okay? Because people literally want to downsize these days. They don't want too much. And often, and if you've been in real estate for a while as I have, you've seen this many times. You'll see the family selling their 4-bedroom, 2.5-bath, 2-story with 2,600 square feet, and they're selling that for $400,000. And they're getting a brand new 2-bedroom house, and they're spending $475,000, $500,000. They're getting way less bedrooms. A lot of times they're losing the basement, but they're getting something much more modern. So I'm just really giving you some examples of why we can't just make the assumption that we should count as many rooms as bedrooms as possible. And I'll tell you another thing is, if a family is looking for a 3-bedroom house and the house has 4, then that is not a selling feature. Okay, people usually know what they need. And 3 bedrooms is what I would say the kind of quintessential house right now. But there's just as many people looking for 2 bedrooms as there are people looking for 4-bedroom houses. And really very few people looking for 5 or 6-bedroom houses. Now, I wanted to introduce this. It's just a concept here. This is the cover of a book by Kevin Clancy and Peter Craig. And the title of the book is Counterintuitive Marketing. Achieve great results using uncommon sense. Now, uncommon sense, you could also say that's unconventional. Okay, it's not the conventional wisdom. Now, I have to admit, I haven't read this book. Okay, but I can tell you probably what it's about, because years ago I was introduced to a business coach named Eben Pagan, and I was able to get a set of his CDs, which he sells for quite a bit of money. And I listened to all of them. They were quite gripping. There was an abundance of business advice in there. And he talked about this concept of intuitive thinking and counterintuitive thinking. Now, those words in the business coaching community are different than intuition and not having intuition. Intuitive thinking really means conventional thinking, okay? And he explained that in business we need to be able to think counterintuitive. You know, this is the same thing that people mean when they say think outside of the box, okay? So I wanted to introduce that and remind people that it's easy to make an assumption that 4 bedrooms is more desirable than 3. But just keep in mind, there may be people out there who are looking specifically for a 2-bedroom house, but they don't mind if it's a 3-bedroom house. But if it's a 4-bedroom house, just simply looking at it on the advertisement, they'll just say, well, this is just too big for us because we only need 2 bedrooms and this is 4, and we're trying to downsize. You see the problem here with adding rooms that are not actually really truly bedrooms, and you try to add that in an attempt to make your house more marketable. Now here's another problem, is let's say there really is a family that actually does need 4 bedrooms, and you advertise it as a 4-bedroom, and then they come and they see this additional room, this flex room, off of the main living area. This was literally off the kitchen. It doesn't have a traditional bedroom door. It isn't set in a private area where bedrooms usually are. And the door has panes of glass that you can see right into the room. Now, does that buyer find himself being impressed when they come and they find out that it's not really a 4-bedroom, it's a 3-bedroom with a flex room? I'll tell you another story. Well, it's not a story, it's just an example. And I'm going to give you some listings here. This is in Shakes Run, which is out in East Jefferson County, okay? And I'm giving you a listing right here, and it's 2418 Middle Creek Court. This is a house that's sold for over $500,000, and it's a 2-bedroom. Now, I'll give you another example. Here's 6406 Moonseed Street in Prospect. Okay, it's sold for $685,000, and it's a 2-bedroom house. Now, how can that be? And I'll tell you, I've gone into these houses and I've seen how they're laid out, and they're using these what are being called flex rooms. Okay, and you always see them furnished with offices. There are many people who have a very good housing budget. They can afford $500, they can afford $600, they can afford $700, they can afford more than $700, but they don't need more than 2 bedrooms. Okay, those kinds of buyers are out there. Don't overlook that fact. But these buyers, almost invariably, from what I've seen when I'm out in the market, they usually have a whole lot of other different kinds of rooms for different uses. Offices, dens, sitting rooms, sewing rooms, you name it. There are all different kinds of uses, and these flex rooms is what they're being called. Typically, they want to be more open. They don't want one single flat panel door, which when you close it, you have a dark, confined room. They like open, airy feel to them, and that's why the double door with glass panes is becoming very popular in this type of a design. Okay, I'm showing you a definition right now, and it's called paradigm shift, or you could just call it a term. Okay, and let's just consider what that means. A paradigm shift is a fundamental change in approach or underlying assumptions. That's what I'm trying to move people to do, is let's make a paradigm shift now, and let's not jump to a conclusion that a 4-bedroom house is better than a 2-bedroom house, or a 5-bedroom house is better than a 4-bedroom house. Rather than jumping to an assumption based on that one metric, we need to look at the overall situation. Now I'm going to introduce you to another concept here. This is a book cover, again, another book that I have not read, but I'm very familiar with the concept. Okay, the reason I'm showing you a book that I haven't read is because I completely understand this concept. I'm sure there's very little new information here, and it's called, the name of the book is The Ultimate Guide to Your Customer Avatar. Now, if that doesn't make any sense to you right now, you might want to pick up a copy of this book, because as a real estate agent, you very much need to understand and apply the concept of the customer avatar. And I'll give you a kind of a basic rundown. Okay, I'm drawing to mind a house right now, and I'm going to show you a floor plan of this house, and it's a very, very nice house, very impressive house. Over 1,600 square feet, and it's in the inner city. It's close to the hospitals in Louisville, Kentucky, and it was built as a 2-bedroom home originally around 100 years ago, maybe 120 years ago, and since then it's been added on, updated, renovated, and along the way there were owners that didn't need a lot of bedrooms, but they wanted to do exactly what I was talking about. They wanted to have a very open feel to the floor plan. They wanted to have a lot of space, and they wanted to make the house feel very inviting, and so they removed some wall sections. They did an amazing job with a professional contractor, maybe an architect, and they opened up the house. Now, what they ended up doing is they ended up adding space, and they went from 2 bedrooms down to 1 bedroom. Okay? Now, in this case, they spent money to go from a 2 to a 1. Now, why would someone do that? Well, this gets back to the concept of the customer avatar. And I actually did an appraisal on this house, and I had to look at this house and imagine who would buy a 1-bedroom house here, and the answer is pretty clear. Now, you can never guarantee that you know exactly what type of demographic is going to buy a house. Okay, any house that you have, you might have a 5-bedroom house, and it might be a couple, okay, that do not have kids, and they're not planning to have kids and buy it, but that is very rare. Okay, your 5-bedroom house is usually going to be bought by a what? A family that is growing, a family that has a lot of children, a family that needs to sleep a lot of people. Well, this one-bedroom house, which happened to be in the inner city of Louisville, very close to the hospitals, and I could look at that and I could say, sure, absolutely, this house has a lot of style. Now I'm showing you the floor plan, by the way. This is the floor plan of the house that I'm talking about. You can see it only has one bedroom, has a bath and a half. But if you can imagine medical professionals, for example, now whether you're a doctor or a nurse, if you're just take a single nurse, for example. I have a friend who's a single nurse. I know he has a six-figure income. I realize that the starting pay of a nurse might not be anything like that, but you know, when a nurse gets more advanced in their career, maybe they become a nurse anesthetist, or a nurse practitioner, or other types of nursing. People go into management. They end up with very nice incomes, and if they're single, if they're young, or if they're a doctor and they're young and they don't have a family yet, a one-bedroom house, very stylish, very close, easy access to the medical community, can be very, very attractive. Now, I'm going through all this so that you understand the customer avatar. Because, see, that medical professional is a theoretical demographic of who would buy this very impressive one-bedroom house. Now, there's another thing I want to add about the one-bedroom house. In my opinion, it wouldn't take much to convert it back to a two-bedroom house. Okay? So it has the potential for that if someone were to then later on need more bedrooms. My point that I'm really making here is, rather than take the assumption that an extra bedroom or two extra bedrooms, that every time you add a bedroom you get a better house, to assume that is not very effective in your estimation of what a house will sell for, in your estimation of what it's going to take to sell it, in your estimation of the marketing time that it's going to take. Rather than make these kind of assumptions, you need to develop your customer avatar for every single client, every single listing that you get. Now, I've got on the screen right now a picture with two cars, okay? And you can see they're both cars, okay? And I've got this question across the top: who is the customer avatar? And then I've got a caption below. It says, different cars for different buyers. You can see that the customer avatar for the car on the left is a completely different demographic than the car on the right. That's so obvious. We all need to keep in mind that houses are the same way. A one-bedroom house, very stylish, totally updated, near the hospitals, have a completely different kind of a customer avatar than a 5-bedroom house in Douglas Hills, like what I covered in my last video. Now, right now on the screen, I've got, for example, a business coach. His name's Miles Beckler, and he's got an advertisement here. It says, creating your customer avatar. The reason I put him here is I wanted to show you that there's some really bright young business people that are grabbing onto this customer avatar. Here's another one. It's called Warrior Forum, and it says, how effectively can you put yourself in your customer or client's shoes? Okay, now in order to do that, you have to have a customer avatar. You have to understand who they are, what they want, what their needs are, what their buying impulses are going to be. Here's another one of these business coaches. Her name is Alexis, and she goes by Miss Trenchcoat. She has like a name there, and she's got an advertisement here that says, create your ideal customer avatar. Now, the reason I'm showing you all these ads is because the business coaches have grabbed onto this concept of the customer avatar. And me, as an appraiser, nearly 20 years ago, when this was introduced to me while I was looking through the material of a very, very excellent business coach, I grabbed a hold of the concept, and it has made a big difference in my ability to estimate how much a house will sell for. And I've been having great success with realtors who hire me to complete an appraisal prior to listing or in mid-listing, okay, where then they're able to get their price correct, and houses sell much better that way. Well, This understanding of the customer avatar has been a real feather in my cap, and that's why I wanted to introduce that to you. Thank you so much for listening, and I have at least a few more of these videos geared primarily to bedroom count. Thanks for listening.